Welcome to Rise Over Run. This is Piers Dormeyer. Today, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going international, all the way to Calgary. On the phone, on the Zoom today, we've got Ryan Shantz, who's owner at Epic Roofing and Exteriors. I said that right?
That's right. You bet.
Epic Roofing and Exteriors, and also tech guy, a founder of SumoQuote, which is a quoting sales platform. Very, very cool. Also a partner of EagleView. We love that. We love SumoQuote. So we'll jump right in. And you've got a really interesting story, Ryan. I mean, we've spent some time together, and going from the apparel business overseas and into the roofing industry, and now into tech. You might be a triple threat. I don't know what that means. Can you sing? I think it has something to do with singing.
No, awful. I'm not even going to try.
Anyway, with that said, where'd you grow up? Where'd you start? How did it all begin?
Yeah, I mean, grew up in Canada here, just on the frozen tundra, right? So Saskatchewan, middle of nowhere. I don't really expect anybody to know where Saskatchewan is. Town of 1,200 outside of Saskatoon, maybe 250,000 sort of thing. And lucky, like just good family. Dad worked lots, owned a small business, and kind of did okay with that. And so to me, what was modeled to me was you work hard and you can see, some good things from the fruits of your labor. So, he certainly encouraged me in that. So I remember having the paper route when I was 10 years old, and every morning at 7 a.m., even when it's minus 40 Fahrenheit or Celsius, it doesn't matter. Minus 40, we were out there, and you got to deliver papers, right? You got your little business that you're running. So, that stuff was always ingrained for me young. So it was fun going through all of that, and then going from there sort of as a launch pad.
Yeah, I think so many of us started out with child labor in our DNA, and it's what started, our trajectory in business and whatnot. In Saskatchewan, is that? I mean, that's up there pretty far north. I mean, you're getting into some pretty cold country.
Oh yeah, so Saskatchewan be over, probably Montana a bit. Montana is where you're at, and then straight north from there. So are you? Is it big hockey up there where you're out there in Saskatchewan? Were you a hockey guy in high school and before? Yes, everybody.
If you're not a hockey guy, you just get beat up.
Basically, no. Town of 1,200, right? So my graduating class in high school was 29 people. And so, because it's always the two age groups, right? It's, the 2 years playing together. But growing up, we had to have two hockey teams in our town because, literally everybody played on a team. So, but it was fun, man. Learned to skate when I was 3 and started organized hockey when I was 5.
Yeah, I've got these. You ever read Jordan Peterson or see any of his stuff? He's only
I've
about
seen a bunch of his videos
Canadian. Yeah, I think he's like the Canadian kind of archetype for conservatism, or what we want, what we wish Donald Trump was, or something like that on the right. But it's funny. He talks about growing up in northern Alberta, somewhere that's like a million miles from anywhere, and it's like everyone's working in the fields and on the railroad and whatnot, and they're just getting after it every single day doing hard manual labor, and it's just bone-chilling cold. Sounds like a wonderful place.
It's funny. One of the things in university here, really popular job is tree planting. So, and again, I mean, you're paid per tree. So, but you go out, you live in a tent out in the forest, and it's slave labor. It's just how fast can you work and go. And I've done some years of shingling as well, but out tree planting, like I think my top day, I hit 6,000 trees in a day. So if you compare that to how fast you can put shingles down, right? Like, do the math. If you put down 80 bundles in a day, and there's 28, 29 shingles, whatever, per bundle kind of thing, like I'm basically planting 3 trees for every shingle that you install. So think about, like, it's just this it was this insane pace of going, right? So
Yeah, and as I was doing that math, I'm thinking 80 bundles, that's like 8,000 pounds ish that you're humping
yeah.
as well. So, but the seats are going to be a lot lighter than the shingles. So that's kind of interesting. So how did we go from 29 in the graduating class? Where did we go after that?
University, like it just in my mind, it wasn't even a question. It was just kind of like that's what you did. So didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do business. So went and I did a business degree. Played soccer through my years in university, which was a lot of fun. So that was good, and that helped probably give me some confidence just in understanding a bit more of who I was, and just. I wouldn't say I was the best player or on the team whatsoever, but I ended up my last few years being in a captain role on the team. So that helped me understand a bit more of some of my skill set and gift set, I think. So and then from there it was just trying to get into some business, and there was an NGO that I somehow stumbled into being one of their directors straight out of university. Because of a lot of the stuff that I had created and run at the university level, and I did that for a year, and I was like, it's great. I get it, and I understand it, and I know I want to give good things back, but this is not the type of business that I want to do, right? So, I quit the job not having anything else, and a buddy at the time was just like, well, hey, if you don't have anything, just come out and throw some shingles down with us, right? Like. And so I was like, sure, why not? Like, I know I want to be in business, not roofing, but and look how well that's turned out for me. Now my life is this industry. But I went, and for about 8 months, was putting shingles down. And after about 8 months, I said, hey man, this is not what I want to do with my life, and this is really hard. I can do hard work, but this is not what I want to do. So quit that. Went and did a couple other things quick, and a couple of years later he came back to me. He said, hey, we're looking to expand into home building, why don't you buy in, like let's talk about this. And so I went back, and he said, but we got to pay the bills, so get back on the tools and let's go, right? So I did another 8 months did another 8 months of shingling. We were not getting into home building. It was not going to go that direction. I looked at him and just like, hey, no, seriously, I don't want to be a roofer. So I quit again and got into financial advising, and learned quickly I didn't want to do that. Figured this was around 2007 when real estate was just booming like crazy. Figured I could make some quick money flipping some condos and doing stuff like that, doing some renos. Bought a condo. I bought a condo, flipped it, but it was right when the market was turning.
I've done that.
Like literally, it was to the week almost. Like I listed it, and the market had turned 3 weeks before that kind of thing, but nobody knew it at the time. So I just chased the market down for 2 months, and finally I sort of looked around what was going on. I was just like, I got to get out of here, and just bottomed the price out and got out, and just was lucky to not lose anything on that at the end of the day. So
you're better than I am. I could write a book on how to suck at real estate. It's just the real thing. It's just buy high, sell low. So, and if you can, get yourself sucked into some HOA fees, along the way. So you just like the pain can just kind of draw itself out the whole time. So that's my advice to anybody getting into real estate.
Oh, and I mean, I think the book I would write would be work hard and hope to get lucky. Like, there's so many things I look back at where it's just like, oh, well, that was dumb luck that worked out like that, right? Like, and it's, it's not a credit to myself. It's just you get so many lucky breaks along the way when you're working hard enough there. So that's,
I don't think luck has anything to do with it. You're just setting yourself up to be ready for when the right thing happens. You know how to respond. I think. I think a few people end up figuring it out, stumbling into success, and then those are a lot of times the folks that lose it because they don't know how to deal with it when things go awry. But so your buddy bait and switched you, got you back in the business. You get into real estate. You're gonna flip some houses. You probably don't use him to put some roofs on. Actually, you probably do, knowing you. You probably say, why not? Let's throw some shingle work at the guy. So how does Epic come about?
Well, yeah, I'll walk you through kind of after that, right? So I was reflecting on life after, you know, the failed real estate there, and I was trying to think about what I liked about certain roles in that, and I thought, you know, I like something that's interesting, that's fast paced, that makes me think, where there's change, and I thought actually management consulting seemed to, you know, I was looking at a bunch of times, right? And so I went back and I did my MBA. And after, you know, I'd been looking at management consulting and was interviewing at a bunch of places. But right as I finished my MBA, this opportunity came up for me to buy this little denim line, actually based out of Seattle at the time. And I looked at some of the stuff that they had done, and I thought, wow, I think I could improve on a lot of this. So I bought this denim line and started running a blue jeans company. Um, and you know, had no clue what I was doing. The branding and marketing side went really well. Like we got in Style magazine, we got in Women's Wear Daily. Vogue was pulling samples from us for photo shoots. Like there was a lot of the brand that people loved and were really really hooked by, sort of thing, and was unique in the industry. So we stood out really well. But man, manufacturing denim sucks. Like that's not easy. It's not like a t-shirt where it's small, medium, large. Like
Oh, yeah.
your size 32, size 33, size 30, and just subtle differences in everything. And you know, we were manufacturing in India, and I'd, you know, be flying over to India twice a year and spending a couple months a year there. And you know, I think we nailed down our denim because we'd be running samples and everything would run well. But there's so many intricacies, right? So you run a sample with one pair of jeans through the wash, you've got a certain shrinkage factor. You run a sample with 80 pairs in the wash there, the laundering, and you've got a totally different shrinkage factor. And then people wear them and they stretch out, and it was just like, it was a nightmare. Like, so I, again, escaped by just the skin of my teeth on that, like didn't lose money, didn't make money, sold that company to a company over in Germany and just hightailed it out of there. So,
And you never wear jeans again. You're wearing track pants from now on.
well, I appreciate good.
You look like you're from New Jersey all the time.
But dude, it was fun when you're watching. Like, do you know the musician Matisyahu?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's fun watching Matisyahu on the Jay Leno show, watching your denim that you just shipped to him a week earlier.
Yeah.
Like it because he loves the message of what the brand is about too, and the brand was called Good Society. So it was organic fabrics, fairly traded, and we donated a percentage of profits back to different NGOs we were connected with. So,
yeah, amazing. He was Brooklyn, I think. Brooklyn, like Orthodox Jew rap mix. He
totally.
had some pretty good jams.
No, he's great, man.
I'm gonna have to, if I can figure out how to do it, I'll link to it, because I remember there was a song that was actually pretty good. That was a while ago, though, I think.
Dude, I'll send you the video of him wearing Good Society denim on the Jay Leno show. So, yeah, it was awesome, right? So the marketing stuff and branding was starting to make sense, and you could see the power of it in that. And so, anyways, at that time, I was getting married, got married, moved back to Calgary, and again, my buddy for the third time says, "Hey, Ryan, we're a bit bigger now as a roofing company. You know, you don't need to be on the tools anymore. Why don't you come back and work for us?" So, you know, fool me once, fool me twice, right? Like, anyways, so he suckered me in the third time. So, but yeah, right away, I mean, it was a different gig. We were probably 80, 90 employees at that time. We're maybe 150 now, sort of thing. And I was quickly in sales, and, you know, then we started doing some interesting things around branding and marketing, right? And as a roofing company, we're pretty lucky in that we'd grown to be, you know, in our province, from everything I'm told by manufacturers and distributors and everything, we're the largest residential roofing company in our province here. And so the challenge then became, how do we compete with contractors that may not have our overhead? How do we be a higher price? And so we developed some really, really bad tech around that, but it produced quotes and reports that looked really impressive and had a huge impact on our business. And so that's where we then started, you know, testing out this prototype for SumoQuote, and eventually I convinced my partners that, you know, I don't have a tech background whatsoever, but I think I could build something here. And So we launched SumoQuote, and yeah, it's been pretty fun, man. It's been pretty fun to hear people how excited they are, because just it's unique, and they're relaying the excitement from the homeowners that they're showing reports to and stuff too. So yeah, that's the
it's
story. That's how
rewarding.
I wound up there.
I mean, it's a rewarding transition from, and you're learning a whole bunch of new stuff, different conversations that you're engaged in. I mean, I went through that transition as well, a while ago now. Amazing. But it's a totally different feedback than you're used to getting.
Well, yeah, and I feel like, I feel like I was maybe fortunate just in that, there's certainly, I felt like a break, like I felt like I did really well in university, won a ton of awards, like just got a whole bunch of recognition, went into the world thinking I was just gonna like own this place, and was very humbled for a whole load of years, trying a bunch of things and not feeling like I was reaching my potential, and just like, and struggling, like trying to find my place, sort of thing, right? And so then going back that third time to that company, there was some humbling of going back there, feeling like I hadn't amounted to what I thought I could amount to, and but honestly, it's kind of that sharpening, and I feel all of that stuff has taught me so much, and has been very necessary to help me be better at what I'm trying to do today now. But it's a lot of hindsight to recognize that, and it's not easy to go through necessarily. So yeah, there is certainly a humbling through a lot of that journey, and I feel I'm really excited about right now, and the people I'm working with and what's going on. Like it's really fun these days. It's really fun. I'm having a lot of fun with SumoQuote and everything these days.
Well, you certainly haven't had that fear of jumping into, foreign territory, or you haven't had that fear of having to learn something new. I mean, going into I'm still stuck on going into the jeans business, right? Like, I don't know anything about it. Oh, this looks good. I don't even know what I'm looking at, but sounds like fun. I like jeans. Who doesn't love jeans? Let's do it. That to me is a huge leap of faith. So it's certainly not crazy, right?
Yeah, no, I know. And there's a certain degree of stupidity that entrepreneurs probably need to have, just because if you knew how much you didn't know going into it, you would never do it. So, I mean, that's even with SumoQuote, right? Like the amount I've learned over the last number of years here in starting to get a team together. And again, just like stupid luck of how things have gone. I'm not even sure if I've given you some of these details, but we get a ton of compliments on our UX, right? On our interface and how you navigate it. And just people are just like, oh, this is really simple and easy. And it's like, well, yeah, but it takes a lot of work to make it simple and easy, right? So the guy that has done our UX from day one, he's freelanced to do our work. He moved to Calgary with his wife and son, 4 years ago. And the first week that they were here, he moved over from the UK. He and his wife and their little son are brand new to Calgary, and they go to this little play gym. And my wife takes our two little guys to the same play gym, like just that day. First time both of them have gone to that play gym, and there's virtually nobody else there. So they end up talking. And my wife is a Newfoundlander, which in Canada just means they're the friendliest people on the face of the earth.
Oh, yeah.
So she's like, oh, you're new to town and you don't know anyone? Well, you should come to our place for dinner some night. So, a week later, they're over at our place hanging out. And so we start hanging out with them some, and I learn more about what he's doing. And a couple months later, I'm just like, well, hey, we're thinking with our business about maybe trying to launch some tech thing. Can I pick your brain on this? And the tech company that he runs UX for, Morgan Stanley bought them for $1 billion a couple of years ago. Like, I mean, he's probably one of the top UX designers in our province. Like, he is insanely talented. And it was just because my wife ran into him at some random play gym the first week they were here and invited him over for dinner. Like, again, lucky, like just lucky in how we've had some of this stuff go our way as we've done this.
All right, now I'm buying into your luck thing, because that is pretty lucky, knowing something about finding UX designer. That is straight up pure unadulterated, like chance from the gods type of thing. Yeah, your UX is gorgeous. It's so difficult. I mean, in the software world, subtraction is 10 times more difficult than addition. It's super easy to add. It's really hard to, that whole Steve Jobs making an iPhone with one button. I mean, well, now no buttons. Although you can't give him credit for that, but that's hard, like real hard. So yeah, very cool, very cool. So so you're getting SumoQuote out in the world. What else do you want to do? What's next?
We got a lot of runway with SumoQuote, I think. So we're there's lots of stuff we're looking to do with SumoQuote. More integrations, new platforms, new ways of selling virtually. There's some stuff we're looking to launch in a couple of months here, which will be really fun. So that's keep your eye out for that, and I'll make sure I'm giving you a demo early when we're close on that. But no, there's a lot of runway with SumoQuote. It's interesting. Like part of that, what's next? Like if I try and envision a life after SumoQuote, there's kind of two things right now, and they're not the same, but they're not opposite. So like what I commented to my wife the other day was, hey, I think roofing's my industry. Like I think this is the thing I know better than anything else in the world. And that was never the plan, was to have roofing be my industry, but from shingling to sales to owning, being an owner, I've got unbelievable partners on the business there, on the roofing business and stuff. But I think roofing's my industry. Like, I think this is kind of it. I think I've found the industry I'm going to be in, potentially for the rest of my life, whatever that looks like. Now, having said that, on the what's next, like long-term dreaming, I still have a desire to try and do some more type of NGO type stuff. With Epic, we've tried to do it, right? Like we've hired crews that were made up of guys living on the street to try and employ them, right? And we went through, and because my partners are amazing guys, and they've got these great philanthropic hearts as well and stuff like that. And so we've always tried to, how can we give back and serve and be a part of bigger things than just us? And, I know you were talking to Charles Antis before. He's great for communicating that stuff. Randy Brothers, I'm good friends with. He's another great guy for trying to think of how to give back in these things. I think it was really, it didn't work out on the roofing side, right? There's too much skill, there's too much risk, you're at heights, there's too much, you got to get stuff done on timeline. Like, so that, didn't work for us, right? I was thinking the other day, and this is a wild dream kind of thing, right? But have you ever seen these like live edge wood tables where they'll add like some color?
Yeah, badass. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do some really cool things with resin and with adding color in them and doing all that kind of stuff. I was thinking, man, that would be something more interesting where you could try and engage, more workforce at the street level to give them some consistent employment. Because if they don't show up, that's fine. That table just doesn't get done that day. And it's more on the product side. There's less risk. I think there'd be, and again, it's marketing and branding. If you can get a strong brand based around that, and you can have, a couple of good people on the design and manufacturing side that are overseeing labor doing that, can you create something there then that you don't need a workforce that is as consistent as you would need for some other industries? And then can you create a product and a brand around that? And then if you can figure it out at a local level, can you replicate that into other communities that have a similar type? I'm trying to think of different ways and different products and different things that you could start to, recognizing there's some challenges with it, but can you set up a product or set up a business where you're not hindered by those challenges? So yeah, I mean, hey man, I love thinking about that stuff. I love trying to think about new ways to build business, but also to give back. And so I don't know. We'll see. It'll be something.
I'm sure my wife's going to run into somebody, and you're going to have your answer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Seems like things seem to find you. So, but you can't get out of roofing, man. I started this thing, and part of the whole idea behind this podcast is there's so many interesting stories out there, and almost nobody wakes up one day and says, you know what, I'm gonna go be a roofer today, or even like I want to go work for somebody who makes asphalt products. Like, it doesn't really happen that way. You just kind of find it, and then you realize that, man, this is actually pretty freaking cool, you know? So pretty freaking cool. So so big fun. So for fun, I asked Charles this, and he kind of did that whole interview question thing where he had asked somebody what their biggest weakness is or something, and they spin that into a positive. But give me a war story. Give me a situation in the roofing business or something that's just totally blew up on you. Something that you can laugh about now and you're not going to get sued for talking about it.
I mean, dude, I got a long list there, right? Again, remember my humbling years?
Yeah.
So the one condo that I was flipping there, it was a 4-story. I was on the top floor, and we were gutting the place. I was hands-on trying to do a bunch of it to save dollars and make money and everything else as well. And I detached the sink, but in detaching the sink in the bathroom, wasn't holding the pipe, this copper pipe, tight enough, and snapped the pipe in the floor directly beneath me. So full water from that pipe, and I hear it, right? And I'm just like, oh crap, I am so screwed. Like, so I run down every floor, and there's water coming out from doors on every floor. And I go to the utility room there, and it's locked, and I can't get in. And so I call the building manager, and no answer. And then I eventually I get the building manager, and she's over in some other building a couple blocks away. So I sprint over there and sprint back and key to get into the utility. So I get it shut down, and it's maybe 10, 12 minutes sort of thing, right? Like, but you think of the volume of full pressure water, like it was awful. Like, the suite below me, it was this Eastern European couple, and like Eastern European couple, the guy had been an engineer, but he was just a pack rat. So his life's work of papers was in their bedroom, and that water was spraying, like burst through the drywall in about 30 seconds, I bet, and was just spraying, soaking their bedroom for 10 minutes. There was 2 inches of water through their whole place. Like, it was an absolute nightmare. There is no positive I can spin on this whatsoever. It was just like, it was one of the stupid, I've done stupid things. That was one of the stupidest, most damaging things I've done.
Yeah, there goes that.
The only luck I had was that it was a concrete building and not a wood frame building. That was the only, and that it was a condo conversion project at the time, so a lot of the units were being flipped. And so anyways, like, I'm in this guy's place with the shop vac trying to clean it up. He comes home 20 minutes later and just looks at me and what's going on and just starts screaming at me. And I try and explain it, and he just, like, he was not having any of it. And I went back there 2 hours later and tried to put them up in a hotel room, and they wouldn't take it. And I went back every day, and I brought, got a restoration company with fans and blowers and just like everything, and at the end of it, like, I asked the guy, I mean, he was pissed for a long time, but after about 3 weeks, when things were finally all settled, everything was done, like, I asked him, hey, could I have done anything better here? Like, and I asked him at one point, I'm just like, just make a list of whatever's damaged, put down the price beside it that you think it's worth, and let's just talk, right? Like, so he gives me this list, and it's totally reasonable. Like, he's not trying to gouge anything. I'm like, done, I'll pay for everything on there. Like, I'll have a check to you tomorrow. Like, yeah. Anyways.
And a lifetime supply of jeans.
Yeah. Well, I got into the jeans after that, but let me tell you, the jeans didn't go a lot better. That's a bit of a metaphor for how the jeans manufacturing went as well, let's say. So. Yeah,
no, it's always fun to laugh at somebody else's expense. It's just, what I'm all about. So.
Oh, dude, that was awful. There was nothing good about that, but you learn your lesson. So hold the pipe potato the next time.
Yeah, cool. Well, as we wrap this up, man, any inspirations right now? I mean, what are you reading?
You know what? I find like my reading is all in spurt, and I'm just going to call it my learning. Like, so my learning is typically I want to learn about something, I YouTube it, I search it, I do whatever. But I find a lot of the time it's just listening to other people. Our HR director at work, super talented guy, really wise, like, and he gave me this little nugget probably 5, 6 years ago, and I've held on to it for a long time, and it's helped me a ton. But he just gave it to me in a way that I could understand things, right? But he talked about the emotional bank account. And so specifically, with my family, but I mean, this could be with coworkers or whatever, but specifically with my wife and my kids now and stuff, the emotional bank account, just recognizing, hey, you've really got to know where you're at in that bank account. And you've got to know when you're making withdrawals, and you've got to really know if you're getting close to overdraft, that, right? Critical. But you need to be intentional about making deposits then. And that simplified it enough where it kind of got through my thick skull. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I've found that since then, I've been more intentional about making deposits and recognizing, I traveled a ton this spring before all this COVID craziness happened. And I made a ton of withdrawals. Like, and I was very intentional about trying to make a lot of deposits before I did all that travel. But I know that I still don't have the emotional bank account back to where it was before that, right? And it's not like my wife's mad at me all the time, but just little things it's just like it's faster that they're frustrated on something. And it's just like, why you typically wouldn't have been frustrated on this? And it's like, oh, it's because I let that emotional bank account get so low and I'm still building that back up. So I just find trying to learn from other people. It's funny actually that you asked me, because I remember one of our conversations in Seattle maybe 5, 6 months ago, and I remember you said this term. I don't know if you coined it at the time or if you stole it from somebody else. I'm giving you credit either way, but co-opetition, right? And it was and I was just this little light bulb where it's like, that is such a brilliant way to phrase it. But it's like, yeah, you might be competing against somebody on one level, but you can also help each other out. And if people can learn, especially in this day and age with technology and change and all this stuff happening so fast, where you can cooperate and compete at the same time. And the companies that do that really efficiently are likely going to be the companies that are going to grow faster and outpace everybody else out there. But that's one of those, I was just like, man, that's brilliant. I love that concept. And that's just something I want to hold on to. And I love how you phrased it at that time for me.
Yeah, I don't think I invented that, but I'm perfectly fine taking credit for introducing it at the right moment. Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming on. Again, there was two big good reasons in addition to just that I think you have an interesting story. Is number one, now I can say we're international. And two, you Canadians, you treat everybody so nice that I can put you on number 002, and you're not going to be pissed off at me if I break something. So, anything you wanna add?
No, man, it was great. This is fun. This is fun to do. Like, I love the industry. The industry now, this is my industry for life, I think. And no, it's fun just to be a part of it and to, keep connecting with everybody in it. And, certainly if there's stuff that I can help others with, or, others can help me with, I'm always happy to take help on our side here as well, but happy to share it. So it's fun. This is a good industry. I really enjoy being in it right now.
Well, thanks for coming on, Ryan. Please check out SumoQuote, great partner of EagleView. Check SumoQuote out. Check out EagleView. Any questions, you can find Ryan on LinkedIn. What's your email, Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan@SumoQuote.com. So
Ryan@SumoQuote.com. Any comments, opinions? I don't take complaints as a general rule. If you want to be on the show, if you've got a great story, Piers, Piers, at riseoverrunpodcasts.com. Thanks. See ya.